Hello and welcome to the Big Train Baseball Network. We are back here at Shirley Povich Field after a long stint on the road for the Big One. Jaden Bastian taking over the left field position here tonight. We haven't seen him take that position on the field yet this season. He typically sits in center field. Your center fielder for tonight is going to be number 29, Andrew Williamson, who we've seen play in that position the past 2 games. Another changeup in the positioning, number 26, Davin Whitaker in right field, as the first offering to number 2 hitter for the Braves, number 6, Caleb Sanders, is swung on and missed for strike 1. So Quentin, as you mentioned, Big Train walking away with the win, actually their first road win of the season last night, as the 0-1 is high and outside for ball 1.
Yes, they were resilient last night, had a early inning battle, but were able to string together runs when they needed it the most.
Here comes the 1-1, another swing and a miss from Sanders, so that'll be strike 2.
And as you said, the first road win of the season for the Big Train. Again, moving to 5-5 on the season.
Big Train no doubt hoping their first road win will propel them into some more success here tonight, as the 1-2 is fouled off into the netting behind Sanders.
Again, it looked ominous late, but Max Martzoff entering in relief for Aiden Kelly and closing the door in dominant fashion.
What an incredible and thrilling final inning. Here comes the 1-2. It's high and inside for ball number 2.
The intensity was extremely high, especially because the T-Bolts dugout became more animated as the game went on. That clearly helped their team and almost pushed them ahead, but Martzoff was on a mission.
2-2 is high and outside for ball number 3. Yes, we mentioned it a bit on the broadcast last night. The T-Bolts dugout getting increasingly animated and excited. You saw all their players hanging over the fence cheering on their players as they got the bases loaded. Here comes the full count pitch. Is popped up high. Ranging under it is Jordan Crosland. He'll make the catch for out number 2. And that'll send up number 20, Catcher Halligan. But as we were saying, T-Bolt's dugout was incredibly animated. On the other side, the Big Train dugout was very calm.
Very tranquil, very collected. Not trying to do too much, and it ended up paying off.
First pitch to Halligan is low and outside for ball 1.
But now the focus is on the Braves, and one of the hottest hitters in the league, Catcher Halligan, hit 2 home runs yesterday against the Grays.
Comes the 1-0 pitch, swung on and missed for strike 1.
Tied for the league lead in home runs. Alone in the lead with RBIs. So a great start for the CRS-CBL veteran, Catcher Halligan.
1-1 is low, but in there for strike 2.
Last summer with the Braves, led his team in both hits and RBIs. Coming to Maryland from Houston Christian.
Here comes the 1-2, swung on and missed for strike 3, and that'll be out 3. So Big Train leaves them scoreless in the top of the first. Stay tuned as we head into the bottom of the first inning. You're listening to Bethesda Big Train. And we're back on the Big Train Baseball Network as we head into the bottom of the first inning. Big Train leaving the Braves scoreless to start off the inning. On the mound for the Braves, it's going to be number 5, Brady Lentz, a rising junior and left-handed pitcher at Marymount. He hails from Fairfax, Virginia, which is also my hometown. First at the plate for the Big Train, it's number 1, Jordan Crosland, as he'll take that second offering for ball number 2.
Crosland hitting .235 on the season with 6 RBIs. Been an important contributor for the Big Train thus far. Second on the team in RBIs.
As the 2-0 pitch is caught up high, moving the count to 3-0. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. Down low for strike 1.
And Lentz has been an important contributor for Marymount over his first couple of seasons. Had a really nice sophomore campaign in 2024. Just a 2.64 ERA in 58 innings pitched.
As the 3-1 is swung on and missed by Crosland for strike number 2.
So in 11 more innings than 2023, decreased his ERA by 2 runs.
Full count pitch grounded over to the shortstop, Leskovsky. Thrown over to first, and it's in time for out number 1. That'll send up number 2, Jaden Bastian, to the plate, who I mentioned in the earlier half inning is going to be playing left field today, typically in that center field position. Last home game, we saw him get an excellent web gem out from center field. We'll see if he has some similar success over in left field. First offering to Bastian. Down low, outside for ball 1.
I believe the addition of Andrew Williamson has pushed Bastian into left field, with Williamson's prowess in center field being shown early here in the season.
As the 1-0 is down low for ball number 2, the first strike 1.
Him and Bastian both with a web gem thus far. Williamson's against the Crop Dusters a couple days ago.
And Bastian will chop that one over to center field. It drops, allowing him to get over to first. So Big Train now have one runner on board, sending up number 29, Andrew Williamson, to the plate. Now, we talked about this a lot last night. We've been needing to see the Big Train get players on base early on, get some runs on the board early on, take that lead, but also making smart plays, not necessarily going for the swing at the fences, as pickoff attempt at first is unsuccessful.
Yeah, and that was something Kaylee mentioned a lot when she was on the broadcast last night, but the Big Train doing a great job last night of applying pressure early in innings.
And his first offering to Williamson is in there for strike 1.
They had just been playing out of a hole so many times, but it was good to see them get ahead last night against the T-Bolts in a good spot to repeat again tonight.
And his pickoff attempt at first, again, unsuccessful. Bastian already drawing a lot of attention from Lentz over at first base. Another pickoff attempt at first. Bastian will go. Pass made over to second, and it is in time. So that'll record out number 2 for the Big Train. Williamson still at an 0-1 count, but now 2 outs on the board.
We've seen that a handful of times this season, not just with the Big Train, but other teams as well. Base runners on first, getting caught in between first and second. A great pickoff move by Lentz.
As the 0-1 is high and outside for ball 1.
And good job by Bastian to fully commit to stealing second base. If he had hesitated, he would have been out in an instant.
1-1 is fouled off behind Williamson. And that'll be strike 2 for the center fielder. But yeah, as you mentioned, excellent squeeze play there by Lentz from the mound, getting Bastian into a bit of a pickle there. As the 1-2 is lined down.
That's a fair
left
ball.
Field. It is fair, and he'll make it over to first. Was riding that left field line till the end.
Definitely not what Williamson intended to do, but the third baseman for the Braves, Jaden Kalura, running out of luck as that ball, as it was about to go foul, touched the third base bag, which means it is fair. So Williamson reaching base with 2 outs. That'll bring up Davin Whitaker.
Again, Whitaker taking over the right fielder position here tonight. First offering to him is low and outside for ball one.
Had a very productive night last night. Was hit by a pitch, but also a couple of hits.
Had a very productive night, morning, I should say, the last time they saw the Braves. That Sunday morning, Whitaker hitting a home run to put into motion Big Train scoring that ultimately resulted in their victory. As second offering to Whitaker is ball two.
Whitaker tied with Josh Skoronsky for the team lead in RBIs with 7.
2-0 is popped up, headed down left field. Ranging under it is left fielder Sanders, who will make the catch for out number 3. So that'll wrap up the first inning here. Both teams scoreless as we head into the top of the second. Stay tuned on the Big Train Baseball Network. And we're back on the Big Train Baseball Network as we head into the top of the second inning. Both teams scoreless as the 4-hitter Jack Pokorak will take to the plate to kick off the second inning.
Pokorak had a big morning the last time these two teams played on Sunday. Had a 3-run shot over the center field wall off of Jake Villar, which was part of a 4-run first inning for the Braves.
Here comes the first offering to Pokorak. Down low, outside for ball one.
And Pokorak is one of several sluggers on the Braves who lead the CRS CBL entering tonight in home runs with 14. The next closest, Crop Dusters Baseball, with 7. So the Braves doubling up second place.
1-0 is check swing. Did not go around, so that'll be ball number 2 for Pokorak. Behind the plate, we have Luca Perriello as the catcher. We've mentioned it multiple times that Cole Constable and Perriello, as the 2-0 is popped down the left field line, just getting away from third baseman Jack Guerrero, and that'll land Pokorak over to second base as it just skid past Guerrero down that left field line. So Pokorak leading off the second inning with a base hit.
Yeah, Guerrero gave a really good effort on the dive, just couldn't get to the one that ended up rolling all the way in the corner and sending Bastion on a wind sprint to the left field foul pole. So a nice piece of hitting from Pokorak to lead off the inning, and now another dangerous bat, and Quinn Madden steps up to the plate.
We'll see a mound visit over to Smith from Perriello. As I was saying, in the beginning of the season, we saw Cole Constable and Perriello switching off the role of catcher night after night. Then with the addition of Nick DeLisi into the lineup, it'll be interesting to see if tomorrow night Nick DeLisi is behind the plate and if they continue to do a 1-2-3 rotation behind the plate, giving each of these players even playing time. Perriello going to be attending his freshman season at Tech as Quinn Madden flies that one out to center field, but under it, Williamson to make the catch for out number 1. That'll send up number 32, Jaden Cholera.
So a quick AB there from the
Matt.
Burke, Virginia native. That fly ball from Quinn, that at bat from Quinn was about as fast as Chris Johnson used to be in those Madden games. You could also throw in Virginia Tech alum Michael Vick. Used to be a pretty good speedster himself.
As first offering over to Cholera is in there for strike 1.
His prime was a little bit before our time. But my dad doing a very good job of explaining the legend of Michael Vick at VT.
Second offering to Cholera, low and outside for ball 1.
Also, thank goodness for YouTube and the internet, as anyone can see for themselves just how dominant he was with the Hokies.
Here comes the 1-1, and that'll be chopped foul over into the Braves dugout.
As the batter is Jaden Cholera, representing Nichols State, the back-to-back Southland Tournament champions, who were eliminated by Tulane in the Corvallis Regional in this year's college baseball tournament.
Comes the 1-2. Popped high, sending it down left field, but under it, Bastian to make the catch for out number 2. So the Braves with one runner in scoring position, but now 2 outs on the board, as number 2, Jaden Carter, will step up to the plate. Jaden Carter, a rising sophomore at Longwood, hails from Dumfries, Virginia. Didn't see any action in 2024 with Longwood, but he was ranked the number 2 catcher and number 33 overall player coming out of Virginia by Perfect Game USA, as he'll take that first offering for a strike.
Carter will try to lead Longwood to its first NCAA tournament since moving to the Division I level in 2005.
As second offering down low for ball 1.
And Evan Smith, in limited action thus far this season, has looked really, really good.
Here comes the 1-1, just escaping the glove of Perriello there, and that'll move Madden over to third.
I will take the blame for that one. Classic announcer's jinx on my part. So I guess that's now strike 2 for yours truly. Strike 3, and we might have Kaylee calling these games full time, which I personally would not mind. I think she'd do a very good job.
I think she's an excellent addition, both in the booth and from the sideline. Here comes the 2-1. It's inside, but up high for ball number 3.
As the shortstop, Jamie Laskowski, waits on deck. Braves threatening early once again.
Here comes the 3-1. It's chopped over to shortstop. Landon Franklin just evades his glove there. Scooped up by Bastian. Doesn't make the throw, so that'll put Carter onto first. Braves scratch across their first run of the game, taking an early lead. Sending up catcher number 3, Jamie Laskowski.
Now, the last time these two teams played, Jaden Carter had been struggling, entering Sunday just 1 of 13 on the season, but a nice piece of hitting, getting the Braves on the board first.
Here comes the first offering to Carter. He'll go for the bunt, and that'll be ruled a strike, so he'll have to turn to the plate. Carter still held up at first base,
Now Laskowski entering his freshman season at William and Mary. Attended Lake Braddock High School, which has been a college commit factory for many years. Laskowski winning Regional Player of the Year this past season.
0-1 is down low and outside for ball one.
Also a two-way player. He pitched a good bit for Lake Braddock, but now one of the batting staples for Metro SoCo.
As the 1-1 low and outside for ball two.
As we mentioned earlier, the Braves putting up a 4 spot in the top of the first the last time these two teams played. Striking first once again here tonight.
Here comes the 2-1. Fouled off.
Hold on, we might have a play. Ah, no we don't.
As it'll land inside the Big Train bullpen there and out of play.
Really nice hustle from Guerrero and Bastion to try and close in on that one. But the baseball just really hasn't liked Bethesda thus far. Guerrero and Franklin at shortstop have made really, really nice efforts, but unfortunately could not come up with the ground balls they were given.
So Laskowski now at a 2-2 count, 2 outs on the board for the Braves. Here comes a 2-2.
There he
Low and
goes.
outside for ball three. Runner goes.
Oh,
Perriello
wow.
with the throw over to second baseman Crosland for out number 3. So
I don't know if Carter thought that was strike 3 or something had happened before, but he hesitated in the middle of that attempted steal of second. Really odd play from Carter, but the Big Train getting out of the inning, just allowing 1 run.
So we'll catch you back here for the bottom of the second inning. Stay tuned on Big Train Baseball Network. And we're back here on the Big Train Baseball Network as we head into the bottom of the second inning. Braves striking early with 1 run on the board. Big Train still scoreless at the moment. At the plate, number 20, Matt Wesley, as he'll take that first offering for ball 1.
Wesley hitting .259 on the season with a homer and 4 RBIs. That homer coming in the Big Train's regular season opener against the Giants.
He took the second offering down low for a ball 2. Here comes a 2-0 inside, down low inside for ball number 3. So he's now sitting at a hitter's count. Big Train looking to strike back, cut into any momentum the Braves might have gotten at the top of the inning. As the 3-0 swung on and missed for strike 1.
I must say, we've been talking up Wesley a whole lot through these first 10 games as the biggest bat in the Big Train lineup. I gotta say, Keenan Bowman's coming up in the lineup very soon.
3-1. outside for ball 4, so that'll walk Wesley out to first base, sending up number 23, Jack Guerrero, the third baseman.
Watching Bowman in batting practice earlier today, I think I needed more than one hand to count the amount of homers he hit.
A strong bat. It's going to be the 8th hitter for tonight and also the designated hitter.
Some might call him the Bryce Curry of the Bethesda Big Train. And by some, I mean only myself.
Here comes the first offering to Guerrero. It's in there for strike 1.
Guerrero locked down the hot corner last night. To be quite honest, the infielding last night was really strong.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot. We've seen the defense really step it up as the 0-1 fouled off for strike 2.
Guerrero at the hot corner. Franklin at shortstop, Crosland at second base, and Emilio Gonzalez at first base. A fantastic 4 in the infield. Doing an exceptional job last night on defense.
Here comes the 0-2. Chopped over to the first base, but it is tailed off, fouled. So Guerrero will step back over to the plate, still facing an 0-2 count.
Almost a reverse poker rack for what we saw in the last half inning. As that one nearly staying fair at the expense of Halligan at first. But Guerrero will have to step back in the box. Still in an 0-2 hole.
Here comes the 0-2. And it's high and inside for ball number 1.
Really good pitch from Lentz. That is a really good pitch. Unfortunately, just did not get it inside enough. But that off speed that looks like it might hit you when it comes out of your hand, but then curves back into the zone. Just so tough to hit, especially with a lefty facing a lefty.
Here comes the pickoff attempt at first. Unsuccessful.
Had you in the first half.
Wesley reading that a lot better than I did. As we mentioned with left-handed pitchers, they do have sort of an advantage for those pickoff attempts at first, as we saw Villar as the 1-2 swung on and missed for strike 3, so that'll retire Guerrero and send up Landon Franklin, the shortstop, for tonight. Had an excellent night in the infield. Previous games. And last night, another pickoff attempt at first, again unsuccessful. So Wesley commanding a lot of attention over at first. But as I was saying, we talked about this the last time Big Train and the Braves saw each other, as the first offering to Franklin is fouled off down right field, landing over in the kid zone.
Oh, not the kids. Are they okay?
I think it bounced off the batting cage fence, so
okay, good.
They look to be safe, but we've got Big Train staff over there with them to keep them safe at all times. Here comes the 0-1. Chopped over to third baseman, who will make the throw over to second in time, so that'll be out number 2.
Great play by Kalura. Getting the jersey a little dirty early on, but getting the force at second.
But Franklin now on first base as the big bat you were mentioning earlier, Keenan Bowman, stepping up to the plate, his first appearance with the Big Train this summer.
As a starter.
As a starter. Saw him come in as a pinch hitter. Here comes the first offering to Bowman. Low in, inside for strike 1.
Bowman didn't play at East Carolina last season, but figures to be an important contributor for them as a sophomore.
Another pickoff attempt at first, unsuccessful.
Lentz trying to pull off the Michael Penix. A little lefty sidearm with the feet stapled to the ground.
The last time the Big Train and Braves saw each other on that Sunday morning game, Villar with the no-look throws over to first, as Lentz will make another unsuccessful pickoff attempt at first. A strong advantage for left-handed pitchers. We had Jack Robinson join us on the broadcast a couple of games ago when the Big Train was away with the Grays, as the 0-1 fouled off down right field for strike 2. He mentioned how challenging it is for right-handed pitchers to make those pickoff attempts at first, how it's not his favorite thing to do on the mound. But definitely a different story for left-handed pitchers such as Lenz, as he'll throw the 0-2 chopped past the first and second, and that'll get number 9, Keenan Bowman, onto first. So now runners on first and second as your catcher and 9 hitter, number 18, Luca Perriello, steps up to the plate.
That one jammed Bowman, but found an open spot between first and second. Thought for a moment that the ball might hit Landon Franklin, who was looking as if he was running unsuspecting, and that would have been an unfortunate way to end the inning. But nevertheless, the Train have 2 on with 2 outs for Luca Perriello.
Here comes the first offering to Perriello, and it's in there for strike 1. So we've seen the Big Train in this position many a time. 2 runners on base, but 2 outs on the board. Last chance at the plate to make something happen, sitting only 1 run behind as the 0-1 swung on and missed for strike number 2. Again, the Braves scratching one across in the top of the second. Big Train hoping to bite back early on to prevent the Braves from garnering any sort of momentum. Here comes the 0-2, and that one's grounded over to third baseman Cholera for out number 3. So that'll wrap up the second inning here. Big Train still scoreless. Braves lead by 1. Stay tuned as we head into the top of the third inning. You're listening to Phoebe Winters and Quentin Corpuel on Big Train Baseball Network. And we're back here on the Big Train Baseball Network as we head into the top of the third inning. Braves leading by 1 run as they send up their 9-hitter, number 27, A.J. Labrusciano.
That's actually going to be still the shortstop, Laskowski, as Carter was caught stealing to end the inning.
That's right. So Laskowski still at the plate as he'll take the first offering for ball 1. Here comes the 1-0. Popped over to center fielder Williamson. It'll drop in front of him. So that'll get Laskowski onto first base. Now sending up number 27, the 9-hitter for the Braves, A.J. Labrusciano. So the Big Train left scoreless bottom of the second inning, hoping to prevent the Braves from putting on a lot on the board. We saw them take a pretty strong early lead the last time they faced each other, as Bruschiano will go for the bunt attempt, but it's outside for ball one.
The Braves trying to manufacture runners in scoring position. I cannot blame them.
Here comes the 1-0, down low and inside for strike one.
But perhaps that was only a first pitch strategy, as Labruschiano probably looking to swing away.
Here comes the 1-1, swung on and missed for strike number two.
Labruschiano struggling a bit entering tonight. Just 2 for his first 25. Looking for some positive Friday vibes at the
Pickoff
plate.
attempt over at first, unsuccessful.
But if he's able to get a hit here, that would set up the top of Metro Soco's lineup up nicely.
As we see another pickoff attempt at first, again unsuccessful, sir. So Laskovsky commanding a lot of attention from Evan Smith. The rising sophomore and left-handed pitcher that attends Maryland University. Here comes the 1-2. It's high and outside for ball number two. Perriello making the throw over to first baseman Matthew Wesley.
Wow.
But just not in time for the out, as Laskovsky still safe on first.
The VT connection almost proving beneficial for the big train. My goodness, Perriello got up in an instant, and a great tag by Wesley.
Here comes the 2-2, foul it off past the stands.
Perriello just so fast on those pickoff attempts at both first and second. So difficult as a base runner to try and get back to the bag.
That's the 2-2. Again, fouled off over the stands. So Labruschiano will stare down the 2-2 count yet again. As you mentioned, Perriello very fast with the pickoff attempts. And you have to remember, he hasn't even stepped foot on a college campus yet. He's still a rising freshman set to attend Virginia Tech in the fall, as Bruschiano will fly that one out down to right field. Under it is Davin Whitaker. He'll catch it for out number one. And that'll send up the top of the lineup, Billy Fluharty. Fluharty struck out at his last inning, hoping to capitalize on having that runner on first.
Fluharty, one of a couple Bucknell Bison on the Metro Soco Braves.
He'll go for the bunt, and it's in there for strike one. Not retracted in time.
Now Bucknell, they were a baseball powerhouse in the Patriot League for much of the 2000s and 2010s. Haven't carried that over to this decade yet.
0-1, chopped over to the right fielder, Davin Whitaker. He'll make the scoop. Won't go for the throw, so that'll put Fluharty on first. Now Laskovsky on second. Stepping up to the plate, Caleb Sanders with 2 runners on base now. Braves already with a 1-run lead, hoping to extend it further and really cushion their advantageous position here.
One quick little fun fact about Bucknell. They've got a pretty famous baseball alumni in Christy Mathewson.
Comes the first offering to Smith. Fouled off behind him into the netting for
Mathewson,
strike one.
Mathewson, a dominant pitcher in the early 20th century for the New York Giants, and a part of the first Hall of Fame class, along with Babe Ruth, Honus Wagner, Ty Cobb, and the one, the only Walter Johnson, who the Bethesda Big Train are named after.
Comes the 0-1, swung on and missed for strike two.
But now Evan Smith looking to D. Plain, the former Dayton Flyer, in a pretty good spot to do so.
Here comes the 0-2. It's fouled off once again, sailing over the stands into the bushes. So Sanders, once again, staring down an 0-2 count. 1 out on the board for the Braves, but 2 runners on base.
Made just 3 plate appearances for Dayton last season, as he's going to call time here. Probably just wanted to recompose himself. But Sanders has been one of the main contributors for Metro SoCo this season, likely enjoying the increased reps of summer baseball, along with many others in the CRS CBL.
We've seen a lot of players throughout the league that were rising sophomores that didn't get to see any action in the 2024 spring season, looking to dust off the rust and really get those reps in. Here comes the 0-2, popped over to right field. A sliding attempt at a catch from Jaden Bastian in left field just evades him there, and that'll scratch across run number 2 for the Braves.
That hit by Sanders sending shockwaves throughout the entire Big Train defense. Not only did Bastian somersault after an attempted dive, but Evan Smith took a tumble trying to back up the catcher Perriello. But a nice piece of hitting from Sanders, putting Metro SoCo up by 2.
It's now number 20, catcher Halligan, stepping up to the plate. Only 1 out on the board for the Braves. Still 2 runners on first and second. Here comes the first offering to Halligan, low and outside for ball 1. So already up on the Big Train by 2, looking to extend that lead. We saw them put up a 4 spot in the top of the first the last time these two teams met. Here comes the 1-0. Caught high and outside for ball 2. Perriello stood up to make the throw over to first, but decided not to go for the throw as Sanders did not go for the run.
Perriello would have had to throw around catcher Halligan. A pretty tough endeavor.
Comes a 2-0, and it's in there for strike 1.
Smith facing an uphill battle here against one of the best bats in the league thus far. And then on deck is a guy who hit a 3-run homer in his last visit here.
2-1. Check swing for ball 3, excuse me. Runners did not go. Halligan now sitting at a 3-1 count. Here comes the 3-1. Down low for both. In there for strike 2. So Halligan now staring down a full count. 2 runners on base for the Braves. Already leading this game by 2. Here comes the full count. Low and outside for ball 4. So that'll walk Halligan out to first to load the bases for number 46, Jack Pokarak. Got a base hit during his previous at-bat.
Pokarak leading the Braves in batting average this season, hitting .389 and 18 ABs. Has carried the success he had on Sunday against the Big Train throughout the entire season, as we're going to have a mound visit. Smith in a jam here.
As you mentioned, we've seen him pitch sparingly for the Big Train. Believe this is the first time we've seen him start at the mound?
No, he started earlier in the season. This is not the first time we have seen him start a game.
You're right, he started earlier in this season.
But it has been a little bit since we saw him on the hill. And slightly similar can be said about his 2024 at Maryland. Pitched 34 1/3 innings And he proved against Boston College on May 12th he can go close to the distance if needed. Pitched 6 innings against the Eagles.
So we'll resume play here. First offering to Pokorak. Popped over into the glove of Jaden Bastian in third. But number 13, Billy Fluharty, scratching across run number 3.
I think Jack Guerrero might have thought that Fluharty left early from third, which is why he went over and tagged the base. But the umpire ruling he left in time, and so now the Braves taking a 3-0 lead.
2 outs on the board now. Jack Pokorak still at the plate. Sorry, Pokorak over on first. Now at the plate, Quinn Madden. Perriello makes the throw over to first in time for out number 3. So the Braves scratch across two.
Nope. Umpire ruled him safe.
Umpire ruled him safe at first.
Man, they were as close to getting the runner on first as Virginia Tech was to a football national championship a little over 2 decades ago. That was not a shot. Don't want that to sound like a shot. Getting to the national championship is a very great accomplishment. But they were right there.
1-0 was down low and outside for ball 2.
Before falling to Florida State.
And the third offering over to Madden. Down low, outside once again for ball 3. So Madden now staring down. A hitter's count. 2 runners aboard. 2 outs on the board for the Braves here. Here comes the 3-0. And it's in there for strike 1. Here comes the 3-1. Popped past the head of Crosland over to center fielder Williamson. He'll make the throw. He'll make the throw over to home, but not in time
That was a heck of an effort by Williamson.
to scoop it up and make the throw. Just not in time as the Braves scratch across run number 4. Now with 2 runners in scoring position, already taking a very strong lead for number 32, Jaden Collera, to step up to the plate.
Now Perriello almost gloved the Rick Ankiel style throw from Williamson. I'll have to check the tape. I didn't fully see if he did a somersault.
So we'll see a mound visit over to Smith.
Rick Ankiel, a longtime outfielder.
And it looks like we'll have a new pitcher in for the Big Train.
Ankiel's time included a stint with the Washington Nationals, well known for his somersaults on attempted throws to the plate.
Number 24, Aiden Rittenauer, now stepping in for relief on the mound. So he'll take a couple of warm-up pitches here.
Rittenauer, one of those other players that did not see playing time last season, that is going to likely get a lot this summer, already has in the Big Train's first 10 games. And I was talking to him during batting practice earlier today, and he sounded very thankful for this opportunity to play as much he has and to play as much as he likely will throughout the rest of June and into, hopefully for the Big Train, late July. Hailing from Shepherd University. Also seemed very happy to know that I knew where Shepherdstown, West Virginia was. One of the many lovely small towns in the Mountaineer State.
So the Braves are currently leading this game 4-0. We've seen the Big Train in this situation before. Their opponents taking an early lead. But we've also seen the Big Train come back in big ways, but likely not how they wanted to start this ball game here after picking up such a strong road win last night. We're hoping to carry over that momentum.
We actually saw the Big Train in not just a similar situation, this exact situation against the Braves on Sunday, falling behind 4-0 early. But the Train ending the game on a 10-2 run, giving the Big Train fans in attendance for the early contest a nice little morning into afternoon boost.
We'll resume play here with number 32, Jaden Collar, stepping into the batter's box. Again, Aiden Brittenauer now on the mound for the Big Train, who are in an 0-4 hole with 2 runners in scoring position for the Braves. Here comes the first offering to Collar, low and outside for ball 1. Here comes the 1-0. Popped up high. Ranging under it is right fielder Davin Whitaker, who will make the catch for out number 3. So that'll wrap things up here in the top of the 3rd inning. The Braves scratching across 3 to give themselves a cushy 4-0 lead. Big Train looking to bite back into that when they step up to the plate in the bottom of the 3rd. Stay tuned. You're listening to Big Train Baseball Network. We're back here at Shirley Povich Field for the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Braves scratching across 3 to extend their lead to 4-0 at the plate. Is the leadoff hitter Jordan Crosland. He took the first offering for ball 1. Second offering low and outside for ball 2. Again, Big Train hoping bats can come alive here to prevent this momentum from the Braves, as third offering is chopped over to shortstop, makes the throw over to first, and it is in time for out number 1. So shortstop Laskowski, excellent play there, right under it, makes the scoop from shortstop, sends it over to Halligan for the out.
That was really great hustle from Crosland, booking it out of the box from the start. Just couldn't get to first in time as Laskowski's throw beat him by just a hair.
Jaden Bastian now at the plate for the Big Train. He'll take that first offering down low outside for ball 1. We've mentioned time and again, the wheels on Crosland is the 1-0 down low for ball 2.
Now here on Harry Potter night at Shirley Povich Field, perhaps the Big Train could enact expel to start doing offense just like that.
Pop the 2-0 down the left field line. He'll round over to second. the throw from left fielder Sanders over to second baseman Labrusciano, not in time. So Bastian now on second in scoring position, only one out on the board for the Big Train as center fielder Andrew Williamson steps up to the plate.
Now, I'm not going to name any Harry Potter spells because, unfortunately, I don't know any off the top of my head other than Wingardium. I forgot which part of Leviosa you emphasize. I might have pissed off a lot of people by saying that.
It's Leviosa.
Leviosa, okay.
Comes the first offering to Williamson in there for strike one.
Yeah, I, unfortunately for tonight, did not read any of the books, nor have I seen any of the movies, although I did take a test. And I am a Ravenclaw.
You already had a Wizarding World account that you'd forgotten about. 0-1. Popped up high. Ranging under it is right fielder Madden. He'll make the catch. Throw over to third. So that'll record out number 2. Sending up number 26, Davin Whitaker, to the plate. Jaden Bastian still on second in scoring position. Big Train hoping to get some momentum going from the offense. Bite back into this 4-0 hole they found themselves in. I must say, it's not surprising your test results came out with Ravenclaws. You mentioned your love of poetry last night. The first offering is down low outside for ball 1.
Actually did end up sending Kaylee a couple of my favorites after I got home from last night's contest.
Well, if she's able to join us in the booth today, I would love to hear her thoughts on the poems you sent to her. Here comes the 1-0. Popped down the left field line. Drops in front of left fielder Sanders. So Whitaker makes it over to first, and Bastian just turns on the wheels, sends it over to home, and that'll record the first run of the game for the Big Train, bringing the Braves lead down to 3. 2 outs on the board now, 1 runner on base for number 20, Matthew Wesley.
We've seen so many of those pop-ups by the Big Train, especially left-handed batters into shallow left field. Unfortunately, Caleb Sanders cannot enter Deion Sanders mode and cover a ton of ground in a short amount of time.
First offering to Wesley. Popped over into the glove of third baseman Cholera. He'll make the throw over to first for out number 3. So that'll wrap things up for the third inning. Big Train gets one on the board to cut the lead down to 3. Stay tuned as we head into the top of the 4th inning.
I'm here with. How well do you think you know?
Keep watching you when you leave.
Welcome back to the Big Train Baseball Network as we head into the top of the fourth inning. Big Train cutting in to the Braves 4-0 lead, cutting it down to 3. New pitcher on the mound for the Big Train. It's Ariston Veazey. We've got a pitcher in the booth with us here. It's Max Martzoff. Max, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing great. Excellent to see the Big Train pick up their first road win of the season last night. You played a huge part in that victory, coming in bottom of the ninth for relief. Can you tell us a little bit about how the team has been feeling coming off of that road win into today? You already picked up a victory over the Braves earlier on Sunday morning. Coming into this game, what's going through your guys' head? What have you guys been talking about in the dugout, in the bullpen?
In the dugout and the bullpen, it's basically simple. Just got to go out and attack from pitch 1 to the last out in the 9th inning. And we put ourselves in a good spot early in games, but I mean, unfortunately right now we got to come back and crawl our way through. And with the way the bullpen's set up tonight, I think we could definitely do it. And the way our batters are hitting, I think we can easily pull it out.
It's number 2, Jaden Carter, the leadoff hitter for the 4th inning. Takes ball 4 to walk on out to first. Braves getting players on base early on, sending up number 3, Jamie Laskowski, to the plate.
Max, if you could, just take us through.
Plate in the bottom of the 9th, especially with no outs. That can be very stressful.
First offering to Laskowski was down low outside for ball 1.
But I knew I can trust myself with the way my fastball comes out of my hand. And, I mean, a lot of these hitters up here, especially in the north, they don't know certain pitches the way it moves. And
Perriello makes the throw over to second, just evades the glove of Franklin, the shortstop. Carter making the run over to third, and he'll get held up at third. Again, Laskowski now looking at a 1-0 count.
But as you were saying, Max, you were leaning heavily on that fastball last night. Just has so much movement. I've talked a couple of times on the broadcast. You remind me a lot of current New York Yankee Nestor Cortez. Just the way, A, he's a lefty, and B, his fastball moves a lot, tails away from right-handed hitters. Has that always been the case for your fastball, or have you picked up movement as you've gotten older?
No, I've definitely had that movement since I began pitching at such a young age. And luckily enough, I gained velo as time went on in my life. And I was fortunate enough that FAU could see my talent at a very young age at 15 when I committed there, and I'm grateful that they still believe in me even as I'm 21 years old right now.
2-1 to Laskowski in there for strike 2. Now, Max, we mentioned earlier, we saw last night the T-Bolts dugout getting very animated and lively in the bottom of the 9th inning, but Big Train dugout very calm, very quiet. Can you talk a little bit about that? Is that something that manager Sal Colangelo has instilled in you guys, or is that just personalities?
No, all he tells us is to just play the game we know. We don't need to chirp or say stuff to the other team. We just go in and let our talent do the work.
And it certainly did the work last night.
Yes, it did.
Laskowski now staring down a full count pitch, and it's down low for ball 4, so he'll walk on out to first, sending up the 9-hitter, number 27, A.J. Librisciano.
Max, I don't want to play the veteran card, but you are one of the more tenured members of the team, and we're watching a pitcher on the mound, Ariston Veazey, who was born in July of 2005, believe it or not. I'm so sorry once again. That affects all of us here in the booth. And now he is an outlier. He did class up a grade, so he should be going into his senior year of high school technically. But what's been the dynamic between the younger guys and the older guys? Are the younger guys, are they trying to get advice from you guys who have been in the college game for a little bit?
I've definitely talked to some of the younger guys. Ariston is one of them, about what the college experience is like. Take it for example, I've been in college for 3 years now, going on my 4th, and he still hasn't even stepped on the field in college baseball yet, so he has no idea what's happening yet.
1-0 down low for ball 2. Perriello making the throw over to second. Not in time.
Man.
As Laskowski will be safe at second. Braves with now 2 runners in scoring position. Librisciano staring down a 2-0 count.
Perriello's been so close so many times tonight. We've talked about a lot on the broadcast this year how fast he's able to rise and fire. Yeah. How impressive is that for a guy that's just going into his freshman season?
It's definitely something to look out for, especially he hasn't even stepped foot on a college baseball field yet. I think Virginia Tech got a great pickup in him.
2-0 is in there for strike one.
You are definitely speaking the language of Phoebe Winters.
But Max, I wanted to ask you, as a returner and also a rising senior, how have you stepped up as a leader for the Big Train squad as that 2-1 is high and outside for ball three?
One thing I definitely say I've been doing as more of a leader is I spoke up to the guys yesterday before the game. I said, we don't need to put any more pressure on ourselves. We just got to play the game we know how to play. And look what happened last night. We won. Simple as that.
3-1. Low and outside escapes Perriello there. So Labrusciano walking out to first base to load the bases for their leadoff hit for the start of the lineup. Number 13, Billy Fluharty.
So, Max, you were in a very similar situation last night. Bases loaded with no outs, obviously later in the game, but what would you tell somebody like Veazey who's in a bit of a jam, at least from the mental side of things?
I would say right now, for him, is just limit. Don't let one run become two, or two runs become more than what it has to be. Just go out, attack the zone, let your defense do the work for you.
First offering.
That one's going to hit the batter, Fluharty.
It looks like it just whizzed by and maybe caught him on the elbow, but that'll walk in run number 5 for the Braves, now leading by 4. Bases once again loaded.
Some communication
Caleb
going
Sanders.
down in the bullpen.
See a mound visit over to Veazey from Perriello.
Now let's see if we have a pitching change or not. As you said, Max, it looked like Jack Robinson making a little bit of a signal.
Yeah, it seems like he sprinted down to the bullpen, and now Nick DeLisi's going down to catch somebody.
So Max, we've been on the road for 3 games in a row. Now you're back home. What is it like as a pitcher to see these new bullpens, sometimes makeshift bullpens at other stadiums for the first time? How does that affect your game mentally and physically?
It's definitely an adjustment, that's for sure. Knowing we have a great bullpen like we do here, not having the luxury at other places, like, for example, D.C., the bullpen was right behind the dugout. Like, that was a little different, but your mindset should never change, as I would say. It is definitely just keep attacking the zone, keep trusting every pitch you got, and just stay positive every time you're out on the mound.
Sanders takes the first offering for strike one. Comes the 0-1, down low, and in there for strike two. So Veazey now in a pitcher's count.
And so, Max, from a catcher's perspective, in that situation when you're trying to talk to your pitcher, trying to calm him down, what's the best thing a catcher could do in that situation?
That's a good question. I would say a good piece of advice from catchers to help calm down his pitcher is just let the pitcher know what he has to do
0-2 low and outside for ball one.
to be able to locate his pitches. See, if I was Luca right now helping Ariston get more in the zone, I would set up where his pitches have normally been missing. So inside, I would set up more on the outer half for him. Let his ball run into the middle of the plate. Get the hitter off guard.
Here comes the 1-2, down low outside for ball two.
And another piece I would tell Luca to tell Ariston is calm down. Don't need to rush your motion. Don't need to speed up your arm. Just let your body do the work. Go towards the plate. Don't need to fall off towards the first base side.
I'd say this is definitely good preparation for what will likely face in the SEC.
Here comes the 2-2, outside for ball three.
He absolutely has the stuff, him along with Jonathan Stevens. Two young Alabamans.
It is absolutely wild to see this duo from the mound and behind the plate. As we've mentioned, two players that have yet to step on a college campus.
Oh.
As Sanders will get knocked in the dome by that one. He'll walk on out to first, and that'll bring in run number 6 for the Braves. He looks to be all right. Braves manager will step on out to talk to Sanders. gives him a quick tap on the shoulder. He looks to be A-okay. So bases loaded yet again for the Braves, who now lead by 5. Stepping up to the plate, number 20, catcher Halligan.
Again, Halligan, one of the most dangerous bats in the CRS CBL, hit 2 homers yesterday against the Grays, now tied for the league lead in home runs, has the outright lead in RBIs with 13 entering tonight.
First offering to Halligan, high, outside for ball 1.
Someone is definitely getting hot in the bullpen.
So Max, we've seen this situation before for the Big Train, especially this season, getting down in the score, finding yourselves in kind of a large deficit. But we've also seen you guys come back in huge ways, especially during your first meeting with the Tacoma Thunderbolts, who you saw last night, put up 2 victories over them. You put up a victory over the Braves the first time you guys saw them. Again, also going down in the score early on, but you came back. What words have the coaching team and other players within the dugout and the bullpen been giving to the rest of the squad to kind of rally you guys up to make those huge comebacks?
Something that I've heard from Sal and Coach G and Coach Lopez, it's play for the guy behind you, especially from the lineup. Always help that other guy succeed. Leadoff guy gets on, you're helping the guy behind you. You're going to help him move over to third, second base, or even score. And from the pitching standpoint, like good example, Aiden Rittenauer comes in for Evan Smith to get out of that jam for him. That's limiting the damage for your team. And I think now, what could we do right now is Arison needs to limit what has happened so far.
Comes a 3-1, foul it off behind Halligan, sailing over our heads in the press box here.
And it's definitely a thing both of pitchers and batters. I've mentioned once before here on the broadcast, Mizzou softball Stefania Abrascato going into her sophomore year has talked about how the person batting before her, if they get on base, that gives her a little extra energy going into her at bat, and it ends up being a ripple effect.
Full count pitch to Halligan, outside for ball 4, so that'll walk Halligan out to first and bring in run number 7 for the Braves. Bases still loaded as number 46, Jack Pokorak, steps up to the plate.
Number 46.
And it looks like for now that Veazey's going to remain on the hill, as there appears to be some action in the Big Train bullpen. Trying to stop the bleeding here in the top of the 4th inning. The Braves taking a commanding 7-1 lead.
Comes a first offering to Pokorak, outside for ball 1.
Max, I'm sure you've been in these situations before at some point in your career, whether it was college or high school. What are some things you take away so that something like this doesn't pop up again in the future?
I would definitely say it's bad outings are going to happen. You just got to remind yourself that you're better than what the stats show. You just got to go out there and not let yourself get to a point like you do this outing, your next outing.
2-0 up high.
Because let's be honest, no one's perfect. No one's going to go out there and go 1, 2, 3 every inning.
And as I alluded to before, this is likely good preparation for VZU, set to compete in a conference that sent all but 2 teams to the NCAA tournament this year.
3-0, low and outside for ball 4, so that'll walk Pokorak out to first and bring in run number 8 for the Braves.
And now it looks like we might have a pitching change for the Big Train.
Mound visit over to VZ.
Here comes J-Rob.
And it is going to be Jack Robinson from Roanoke College.
So Robinson, another returner to the team as yourself. Would you say that you guys have a relatively strong bond, being both returners, having played with each other before?
Yeah, no, we definitely do, because we know what it takes to win here and being leaders on this team. And I think a guy like J-Rob comes in and will do his job, and he'll help out VZ, and he's definitely going to prove himself.
So as we enact a pitching change here, we're actually going to pass the mic over to pitcher number 2 here in the box. We thank Max for hopping on.
Thank you, guys.
We're going to have, for the first time this year, relief pitcher Jordan Capuano on the mic. Jordan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Jordan, you've made a handful of relief appearances thus far for the Big Train. Just how has the season gone thus far? Is it about as what you expected, or has anything happened that you might not thought would happen?
My goal coming out here was just to get in innings and really just get the feel back for being on the slope, being a guy that didn't throw too much this spring. I mean, the goal for me, just like from now on, is just try and fill up the zone a little more, get the breaking ball in there as much as possible, and get guys out ultimately for the team.
I do want to talk about that breaking ball, and I have a baseball here if you want to demonstrate. I would argue I don't have the TrackMan statistics in front of me, but I would make a very strong argument that your breaking ball has the most break of really anyone on the Big Train. Can you just explain to us how that movement develops and how you get so much break on that slider?
All right, gotcha. So all I really do is I split the horseshoe down the middle here, and I go wrap my middle finger there like that, make it tight, put my thumb on the seam on the bottom here, and just throw it like a fastball and let it rip off the middle finger, and basically throw it as hard as I can at the front hip of a right-handed batter and in the right-handed batter's box to a lefty, and try and get it in the zone.
How long has that breaking ball been a part of your arsenal? Because you have leaned on it heavily thus far, and understandably so.
So I've gone back and forth between sliders and curveballs, but ultimately the slider's always been the better pitch for me overall. It's just always matched up with my fastball well enough to the point where it just feels natural coming out of the hand, just like my fastball. Curveball, on the other hand, it's hard to get on top of for me because it's just a weird slot for me, but slider's always been there.
So now the warm-up pitches are done. Jack Robinson looking to get out of this bases loaded, no outs jam.
So Capuano, you just finished your freshman college season as the first offering to Mannon in there for strike one. Just finished up your freshman season at college. Can you explain to us how different college ball is to now summer collegiate baseball? I know that you guys don't get practices, it's just game after game after game.
Yeah, I'd say summer ball probably beats you down a little bit more just because you're out here every day grinding, playing games. But I'd say competitiveness and locked in is what we were taught at school, and I'd say that is you feel a lot like when you're on the mound here, you're trying to be competitive, but when you're on the mound at school, it feels like you gotta do your absolute best to keep going out there. That's your goal, is to keep going out there and help your team succeed.
Mannon nailed that one down center field to bring in run number 9.
Yeah, run number 9, now a 5 spot for the Braves here in the top of the 4th inning.
Jaden Cholera steps up to the plate. His third at bat now here tonight. His previous 2 at bats, he's gotten a hit off. So Capuano, you said summer collegiate baseball definitely wears you down. It's definitely a lot of work. But how do you think getting the continuous reps in will prove advantageous for you as you step into your sophomore season at UNC Wilmington?
Well, the goal here for me personally is, I think with a lot of these guys are the same way, is just the more that you are able to throw the baseball and become more consistent at putting the ball where you want it to be is going to be an advantage for you at always. As long as you're able to consistently put it in the zone, which is the goal of most guys here, not really like velocity and break and all that stuff's important to you, but at the same time, the main reason that you're put out there is to throw strikes and get guys out, and that's my goal here, is to definitely just get outs and get out of innings quickly and be efficient for my team.
And Jordan, I want to ask you something I asked Max a little bit earlier. In this situation with a jam, facing an uphill battle, what's something that you would tell yourself or something that you would do to try and calm yourself down and remain level-headed?
Take a deep breath and basically just attack. Nobody else is out there. If your base is loaded, you are attacking the guy at the plate, not really worrying about anybody else. I mean, you pay attention to the runners, make sure they're not getting too big of a lead, but overall it's a battle between you and the hitter and making sure that he doesn't do any more damage than he's supposed to.
Here comes the 3-1, fouled off down the right field. So Colorado will stay alive at the plate now, facing a full count pitch. Runners on the corners for the Braves, who are currently leading 9-1.
And Jordan, when you look at this summer, what's something that you want to accomplish? You talked to us at Media Day about how you, I think, wanted to add another changeup into your arsenal. What are some other things that you want to say that you did by the end of July?
I'd say
Count
overall,
is flied out down center field. Ranging under it was Whitaker, the right fielder, slid in for it, but unable to make the catch. Throw down to the mound as the Braves bring in run number 10 and 11. Now leading by 10. Stepping up to the plate for the Braves, it's going to be Jaden Carter.
So, Jordan, when you look to the end of the summer, what are some things that you want to say you accomplished over these 2 months here in Bethesda?
my goal here is just to basically say that I became more consistent with the zone and placing my pitches where I want them to, and I want to develop a decent changeup and go back to school and have a third pitch that can really throw hitters off. And it doesn't have to break too much. It doesn't have to be too fancy, but I want it to be effective and efficient.
I must say, I don't want to pump too much praise into you, but I think you could probably rock Mariano Rivera style with just a couple of pitches, considering how strong your slider is, but can never hurt to diversify the arsenal, especially at the collegiate level.
Yeah, I had a rough AB against the Aces where I was slider fastball against one guy. I believe the pitch was about 13. The at-bat was about 13 pitches. So I believe if I had just that one more pitch, I probably would have been able to get him a little sooner.
As Carter now sits at a 1-1 count, 2 outs on the board for the Braves. Robinson looking to put them away, stop the bleeding here. Here comes the 1-1, down low, inside for strike 2. So Capuano, as a new member of the Big Train squad this summer, can you speak a little bit about what the bullpen experience and the culture throughout this team has been from your perspective?
I've personally had a great time. We all get along pretty well.
As the 1-2 is swung on and missed for out number 3. I'm sorry to cut you off there, Jordan Capuano. Maybe you can finish that sentence here. I'll let you finish.
All right, we're all having a great time. We get along real well. Our goal is to just have fun and play the game of baseball and also compete for our team. And we all are pretty much on the same wavelength there. So.
Well, thank you again, Jordan, for joining us here in the booth. It's been lovely speaking to you. Hopefully we will get a chance to speak to you again throughout this summer. Thanks again for joining us. Your Bethesda Big Train trailing by 10. They now sit to step to the plate in the bottom of the 4th inning. Thank you for tuning in to Big Train Baseball Network. Stay tuned as we head into the bottom of the 4th. Welcome back to the Big Train Baseball Network as we head into the bottom of the 4th inning. Leadoff hitter for the Big Train is going to be number 23, Jack Guerrero. Bunt attempt not retracted in time as he'll take that one for strike one.
Once again, thanks to Max Martzoff and Jordan Capuano for joining us in the booth as the Big Train looking to rectify a big deficit here.
As Guerrero will pop that one down into left field for a base hit, dropped in front of left fielder Sanders. Guerrero now on first. Big Train looking to put up a huge number of runs here. Braves came in hot with a 7 spot in the top of the 4th. Now stepping up to the plate, it's the shortstop for tonight, Landon Franklin. Is his first offering is down low for and outside for ball 1.
I said pregame the Braves were one of the best slugging teams, the best slugging team, in fact, in the CRS CBL. But they have strung together a ton of hits as Guerrero's going to take second on the wild pitch. But I'm not sure anybody expected it to go like this. But I think Phoebe, the Big Train, are going to have to make up this deficit slowly. Doesn't have to be all in 1 or 2 innings. Just keep decreasing the amount of pressure on your offense to put up such a big number in such little time.
As the 2-0 to Franklin is caught upstairs for ball number 3.
If you have a giant plate of food in front of you, you're not going to try to slam dunk it in 10 minutes. You're going to want to pace yourself, which is what the Big Train are probably going to have to do here.
Comes the 3-0 outside. Sorry, inside for strike 1.
At least if a big plate of food were in front of me, I would not want to slam dunk it in 10 minutes, although there are some people that are able. That is not my preferred eating pace.
I think we need to call back to what Max Martzoff had to say when he was just in the booth with us. Top of the 4th, the 3-1 is in there for strike 2. Franklin now staring down a full count pitch. 1 runner in scoring position. Martzoff said yesterday he spoke to the team, told them to play their game, and I think that's what Kaylee was telling us as well on the broadcast last night. Big Train needs to go for the smart plays as Franklin swings on it and misses for strike 3. That'll record out number 1 for the Big Train, sending up the designated hitter Keenan Bowman. Big Train needing to make those smart plays to get players on base slowly get runs onto the board to cut in to the score. Don't need to necessarily swing for the fences every time. Bowman going in for the bunt attempt. Throw from pitcher over to first baseman Halligan will record out number 2 for the Big Train. Now sending up the catcher, Luca Perriello.
So that's exactly what we were talking about, although Bowman had to sacrifice his own potential base running adventures.
A smart play to get Jack Guerrero over to third. Again, something Martzoff was mentioning. It's something that manager Sal Colangelo has tried to drill into them this summer, that you play for the guy behind you, you set up good plays for them. Now, manager Sal Colangelo is not at Shirley Povich tonight. He's actually attending a wedding for a former Big Train player.
Probably wants to make it back pretty soon.
As first offering over to Perriello down low for ball 1.
The statistics do not lie. The Big Train have a run differential of -10 without Sal Colangelo in attendance.
As the 1-0 flied out towards center field, under it is Fluharty. He'll make the catch for out number 3. So Big Train a quick 1, 2, 3, 4 to leave them scoreless. Stay tuned as we head into the top of the 5th inning. You're listening to Big Train Baseball Network. hitter for the Braves is going to be Leskovsky
You got it.
as first offering to him. Down low for ball one, bouncing off Luca Perriello's catching gear there. Again, Jack Robinson stepping in for relief, relieving Ariston Veazey on the mound. Here comes the 1-0. Flies out down center field, ranging under it is Williamson. He'll make the catch for out number one. Williamson, been an excellent addition to the outfield for the Big Train.
And talking with him before the game, the guy just loves ball. Loves being here, loves the game of baseball. I was talking to him about his favorite player, Andre Ethier. Just why that was his favorite player, because that is a very niche selection. Not many Andre Ethier fans you hear of nowadays.
As Lubriciano will show bunt, but retract for ball one.
But Williamson telling me that he grew up going to Dodger games, and Ethier was a cornerstone in the outfield at the time.
1-0 is outside for ball two.
Along with the likes of Matt Kemp and Carl Crawford. One of my favorite teams to play with in MLB 2K13 for just that reason. Just so much to offer between those three.
2-0, foul it off behind Lubriciano for strike one.
All three of them could hit for power. Carl Crawford was ridiculously fast. And at least in my experience with hitting as Matt Kemp on MLB 2K13, I would hit on average about a homer a game with him.
2-1, outside. Sorry, inside for strike two. Inside and up high. Strike two, now sitting at a 2-2 count. Lubriciano, one out on the board for the Braves. On deck, the top of the lineup, Billy Fluharty. Here comes the 2-2, swung on and missed for strike three. So that'll bring up Billy Fluharty. Robinson retiring them early. He's gotten rid of him and his outfield have gotten rid of Leskovsky. Leaves Lubriciano swinging at the plate. Now set to face the top of the order, Billy Fluharty. Here comes the first offering to Fluharty. In there for strike one. So the Braves putting up a 7 spot in the top of the fourth inning, taking a huge advantage over the Big Train. Here comes the 0-1, swung on and missed for strike two. We were lucky enough to have pitcher Max Marsoff and Jordan Capuano in the booth with us here today to share some of their thoughts on how the season has gone for the Big Train, the culture in the dugout and the bullpen, and just kind of the mentality of the players as they're at this point in the season, as the 0-2 is in there for strike three. Jack Robinson with a quick 1-2-3 to wrap up the top of the fifth inning. Stay tuned as we head into the bottom of the fifth. Welcome back to the Big Train Baseball Network as we head into the bottom of the 5th inning. Your Big Train trailing by 10, hoping to get the bats alive as they start with the top of the order, number 1, Jordan Crosland. We've got a new pitcher on the mound for the Braves. It's number 8, Bryce Mitchell, right-handed pitcher and rising freshman at Bucknell University. Hails from Damascus, Maryland. Attended Damascus High School. Last played for the BCC Prospects 2024 Navy team. Here comes the first offering to Crosland, down low, outside for ball 1.
I must say, upon further review, Bucknell actually has quite the list of alumni. My personal favorite, being a hardcore basketball fan, is the one, the only Mike Muscala.
As the 1-0 gets away from the catcher there, but is outside for ball 2. That one looked like it bounced right out of his glove there. So Quentin, we had
Yes.
Martzoff and Capuano in the booth here with us, top of the 4th inning. They seem to echo the words of manager Sal Colangelo that when the team finds themselves in a position like they are now, sitting behind in the score, pitchers need to focus on the batter at hand, and batters need to focus on setting up good plays for the person behind them. What do you think Big Train needs to do to come back from tonight with a win, or at least one that they can call a successful outing here at Shirley Povich Field?
You got to treat it like one batter at a time. And this applies to not just baseball, but to life. If you have a lot of homework to do, if you have a lot on your schedule, if you look at it as, oh, I have 7 things to do, and you look at that in one moment, that's a lot. That can be overwhelming. But if you think of it as, oh, let's focus on this thing and this thing right now, and then you get done with that, move on to the next thing, and you keep repeating, in my personal opinion, that's a far better mentality to have than overwhelming yourself with a lot of information at one time. And so I think both on the mound and at the plate, the Big Train cannot look at the scoreboard and be like, we have to score 10 runs now. It has to be, or at least I think it should be, let's get a couple here. Let's get a couple more here. So by the time the later innings come around, and let's say the pitching does hold up, you're staring at a way...
As you can see there, Big Train's athletic trainer, Dr. Holland, talking to the umpires. Looks like we're going to have a change of umpire behind the home plate. As you were saying. As you were saying about batters needing to treat it just one hitter at a time. We're going to go to a quick commercial here as we have a stoppage in play. Join us back here for the Big Train Baseball Network as we resume the bottom of the 5th inning.
till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Said hey, hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Said hey, hey baby, I love the way you watching you when you leave. Something new. Keep hoping you feel this too. Holding on and on and on and on. Hoping I can get to know you better. Living pick me up, 'cause nothing feels as good as summer love. Move so fast. Here's hoping this night will last. Just let go. We're spinning with our eyes closed. Holding on and on and on and on. Hoping I can get to know you better. Living in sweet suburbia. Some fun is all we want. Two kids come alive in a night rush. I'll be the girl next door. You be my summer crush. Yeah, I think you should come and pick me up, 'cause nothing feels as good as summer love. Two kids come alive in a night rush. I'll be the girl next door. You be my summer crush. Yeah, I think you should come and pick me up, 'cause nothing feels as good as summer love.
Welcome back to the Big Train Baseball Network as we are set to resume the bottom of the fifth inning here. In the booth here with us, we've got our general manager and certified high school umpire, Harrison Myers, to give us some insight on what happened to cause the stoppage in play there.
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
I'm doing very well. This is your first time on the call this season. Happy to have you in the booth.
It is, thank you. It's very nice to be back.
Yeah, and we just wanted your insight on not just what the heck happened there that caused the approximately 10-minute delay as Jordan Carlson steps up to the plate, but what kind of impact what just happened has on the rest of this game.
Sure. So basically, being an umpire can be a pretty dangerous job. They put in a lot of effort, a lot of work, and for their effort, they get baseballs thrown at varying speeds at their head. Occasionally, stuff happens and it makes contact.
As the 3-0 is down low for a ball. Number 4, Jordan Crosland walking out to first base.
So in moments like that, especially with the renewed focus on head injuries and CTE and everything else going on in the world, it's really...
Sorry, that was strike 1 for Crosland as he'll foul off the 3-1.
It's become really important for umpires to keep their health and safety. And whenever something like that happens where an umpire gets injured or they maybe have a concussion or something going on, it's good practice to take them out of the ball game.
As Crosland swings and misses on the full count pitch, that'll record out number 1 in the bottom of the 5th inning for the Big Train, sending up Jaden Bastian to the plate.
And just to add a little more color, for anyone who's returning to the Big Train Baseball Network or watching us back from last year, you might remember me as the guy who should never speak during the first batter of an inning. I'm going to call that the first batter of an inning, and that curse still continues. So,
how big is the sample size? How big are we talking here?
I broadcasted 4 or 5 games last year.
Okay, that's healthy.
It was healthy. It certainly was. It was about 36 innings. I did it 33 times, and the other 3 innings certainly made up for it.
As Bastian goes for the bunt on the first offering to him, gloved outside for ball 1. Here comes the 1-0. Swing and a miss from Bastian for strike 1.
So, Harrison, could you just explain to us the impact of going from 3 umpires to now 2, which is what we have here?
Sure. So in a college game, which is what this is, you're supposed to have between 3 and 4 umpires. They work in rotations. They do a lot of different stuff to make sure that every inch of the field is covered. What happens when an umpire is removed from the game is you go down to 2 umpires. We do not have ready-made replacement umpires on staff or on standby like they do in professional leagues. So what happens...
As the 2-1 is grounded past second base, Bastian will remain at first. Big Train now with 1 runner on, 1 out on the board as Andrew Williamson steps up to the plate.
See, that was the second batter of the inning. Shout out to my broadcast partner last year, Adam Glover, or Glovier, as we like to call him. So basically what happens with an umpire is instead of having 3, you have 2. Functionally, that means the umpires are going to be in different places. You just don't have enough bodies to cover it the same way. This is the most common type of umpiring in high school or recreational ball because it's not quite at that level or at that speed. When you get to college, it's really important to have that third umpire. You can still work it with 2 people. You can work it with 1 person if you want to. You're just going to get varying results from that.
As the 1-0 popped up high down left field, ranging under it, left fielder Sanders. He'll make the catch for out number 2, sending up number 26, Davin Whitaker, to the plate again. Big Train, 1 runner on first, now 2 outs on the board.
And I say that not to say anything about the umpires. The umpire actually on first base right now is my mentor, and he was the one who trained me. So I know he's 100% up to this. He's an incredible guy and a great umpire. Whenever I have an issue or something strange happens, he's the first guy I call. It just changes the position and the functions and the way everything works.
Unsuccessful pickoff attempt at first.
So now with, for example, a lefty batter, as we have here with Whitaker, and no umpire down the third base line, is it up to that umpire's discretion between first and second if Whitaker swung on a hypothetical check swing?
Correct.
As he'll pop that one over the pitcher, scooped up by second baseman. So he'll make out number 3, and that'll wrap up the bottom of the 5th inning here. Thank you, Harrison, for coming into the booth to explain that there. Thanks for staying tuned after that delay. Stick with us as we head into the top of the 6th inning. And we're back here for the top of the 6th inning on the Big Train Baseball Network. Here to lead off the 6th inning is number 46, Jack Pokorak. So he'll take that first offering for ball 1. Now, as we are heading into the top of the 6th inning, we have to mention the weather here in Bethesda, Maryland. There seems to be an imminent thunderstorm on its way. Quentin, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, the AccuWeather radar is looking about as promising as my career as a mechanical engineer. It is not great. Not great at all. So now that we are through 5 innings, if the game is called, it will go down as an official game, and if the score stands pat, the Braves will have won this Friday evening contest.
As Pokorak swings and misses for strike number 2. Again, Robinson retired them early in the top of the 5th inning, getting rid of 1, 2, 3 to keep them scoreless, as the 1-2 is fouled off over our heads here in the booth.
So if you hear thunder or see a little bit of lightning on the broadcast, just know that it was expected and that we warned you all beforehand. Not like any of you are outside or anything, probably.
Here comes the 1-2. Again, fouled off behind him. Although I will say, the last time we saw an imminent storm coming in, when the Big Train was playing away with the Gaithersburg Giants, us talking about the rain seemed to hold it at bay a bit, as the game played throughout all 9 innings. Not saying we control the weather here or anything, but as Pokorak swings and misses for strike number 3, that'll be out 1 for the Braves here, who are again leading by 10. And as you mentioned, Quentin, should that storm come through in the full force that it is expected to, we are at an official game here, having gone through all 5 of the first 5 innings. And so, should the storm come through, it would be called here, and the Braves would walk away with the 11-1 victory.
Yeah, not the most ideal outcome for the Big Train at this current moment. I guess we'll really see if Mother Nature likes summer collegiate wood bat baseball that much or not.
As the 0-1 fouled off behind Madden for strike 2.
And of course, my umbrella is sitting in my passenger seat in my car. Just how Mother Nature intended for it.
Gonna be a muddy and wet walk through the woods back over to our cars tonight.
I will not be walking through the woods. I will be taking the alternate route.
Comes the 0-2 outside for ball 1.
Although there is a lot of tree coverage on the path we usually take to the other set of fields where most of the interns are parked. But amidst the rain, I'm not so sure.
1-2 in there for strike 3, so that'll record out number 2. Robinson again retiring them quickly, as that'll bring up number 32, Jaden Cholera, to the plate.
This is actually going to be 46.
Number 46,
Jack Pokorak stepping up to the plate.
So before that was catcher Halligan. Now
Correct.
bringing up Pokorak. First offering to him down low, outside for ball 1. Saw him waiting there on deck before we came in. Here comes the 1-0. Down low, outside for ball 2.
So Robinson trying to sit Pokorak down likely as quickly as possible to give his offense another chance in the bottom of the 6th inning.
As the 2-0 again down low for ball 3. Pokorak now sitting in a hitter's count. 2 outs on the board. Already an extensive lead here for the Braves. Here comes the 3-0, and it's gloved inside for strike one.
And it looks like we have a pinch hitter on deck for the Braves. It's going to be number 39, Kendall Cassidy.
Here comes the 3-1, and it's in there for strike two. So Pokrack now staring down a full count pitch, 2 outs on the board for the Braves. Robinson held him scoreless in the previous half inning. See if he can replicate that success here. Here comes a full count outside for ball 4, so that'll walk Pokrack out to first, bringing up, as you mentioned, the pinch hitter, number 39, Kendall Cassidy.
Out of McLennan Community College, hailing from Burleson, Texas.
Braves, number 39, Kendall Cassidy.
And it looks like there will be another pinch hitter on deck.
Number 29.
Not on my roster that I printed out a little bit ago. Perhaps a late ad for the Braves.
First offering is in there for a strike. Here comes the 0-1 to Cassidy, in there for strike two. So Robinson now with the chance to leave one stranded on base and hold the Braves scoreless for 2 consecutive. So he's now throws the 0-2, and it's outside for ball 1.
The batter on deck is Nolan Book, representing Mount St. Mary's, hailing from Manheim, Pennsylvania.
Here comes the 1-2. Popped up high. And under it is shortstop Landon Franklin for out number 3. So Robinson keeps them scoreless for 2 consecutive. Braves still leading 11-1 as we head into the bottom of the 6th inning. Stay tuned to Big Train Baseball Network.
The fan.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move, boogie down.
Welcome back to Shirley Povich Field. You're listening to the Big Train Baseball Network as we head into the bottom of the 6th inning. Set to lead off this inning is Matthew Wesley, number 20. Here comes the first offering to Wesley. He'll ground that one past the pitcher and past the second baseman for a base hit. So Big Train facing a 10-run deficit, looking to generate some momentum, get some runs on the board. Matthew Wesley starting the inning off on a good note, getting on base during his at bat, sending up number 23, Jack Guerrero, to the plate. Had a base hit at his previous at bat. As first offering to Guerrero's in there for strike one.
Phoebe, remember how I said not too long ago that the Big Train can't just think they have to get all 10 runs in 1 or 2 innings? I think they might have to eat a 5-course meal in about 10 minutes with the way the radar's looking.
Here comes the 0-1. Foul it off behind Guerrero. Sailing over the third base stands. So Guerrero now at an 0-2 count. Wesley on first. You bring up a great point, Quentin, as any runs the Big Train does scratch across here in the bottom of the 6th inning. If the 6th inning does not come to completion due to weather,
Or if
they
any,
won't count towards the final score, as Guerrero will take that offering for ball one.
I thought you were going to say if this inning does not conclude, the game will still count, but you went in a different direction, so I apologize.
I'm sure many Big Train fans wouldn't mind if the weather meant this game didn't count in the scorebooks. But no, I was just talking about this inning again. If it doesn't come to completion, as Guerrero will foul that one off down left field.
So hypothetically, one of the greatest comebacks of all time could be interrupted by rain, and thus it would not count if they cannot finish the inning.
Exactly. So even if they did manage to eat a 5-course meal in 5 minutes, if this inning does not come to completion, it would be for naught for the final score of the game, as the 1-2 gets away from the catcher, allowing Matthew Wesley to steal second. Guerrero now at a 2-2 count. It wouldn't count towards the final score. It would be for naught in that sense, although I'm sure it would do wonders for the Big Train squad's confidence, and also, again, letting these players get those reps in. Getting those hits off is always important, especially in summer collegiate baseball. Here comes a 2-2 swing and a miss from Guerrero for strike three. That'll be out number one here for the Big Train, sending up number 22, Landon Franklin, to the plate. Max Martzoff, well, he joined us in the booth, talked a little bit about the differences between summer ball and collegiate ball, as the first offering to Franklin down low outside for ball one, mentioning how much harder summer ball is in a sense, just because you don't get the time to practice with the team. You're playing like 3 to 4 games each week. You're seeing a lot of action. You're getting a lot of reps in, as Franklin hit by the pitch square in the back. That'll send him over to first base. Now stepping up to the plate is going to be the designated hitter.
That's actually going to be Christopher Diaz.
Christopher Diaz pinch hitting for the designated hitter, Keenan Bowman, with runners on first and second, 1 out on the board. As I was saying, summer collegiate ball is more focused on reps and improving your game overall rather than winning each game, which is a stark difference to college baseball in the spring. Although, as we've mentioned time and again, manager Sal Colangelo, as well as this Big Train squad, have a winning mentality. They like to see wins in the scorebook. As Diaz's first offering is outside for ball one. Here comes the 1-0 outside for ball two. Here comes the 2-0 down low for ball three.
Luca Perriello waiting on deck.
Diaz staring down a hitter's count with two Big Train players already aboard, looking to push them into scoring position. Load the bases for Luca Perriello. Once again, that putting the runner behind you in a good position mentality that manager Sal Colangelo has drilled into them, as Diaz walked out to first, bases loaded for the catcher, Luca Perriello.
Number 18, Luca Perriello.
The
So-
first time tonight the Train have had the bases loaded. Perriello looking to capitalize. Just one out here in the bottom of the 6th inning as the rain is inching closer and closer to Shirley Povich Field. Let's see how many runs the Train can make up before Povich Field is likely enveloped by water falling from the sky.
So that one is down low and outside for ball one. And again, should this inning not come to conclusion, the runs scored would not count, although I'm sure it would do wonders for this Big Train squad who just saw 2 consecutive donuts on the board there. Pitcher on the mound, number 8, Bryce Mitchell, held them scoreless in the bottom of the 5th, which was interrupted by the unfortunate injury, swing and a miss from Perriello for strike 1.
Yeah, usually when we've seen umpires take baseballs off the mask, they've been deflected, which decreases the speed of the ball most of the time, but that was not the case tonight. That one, just a straight heater into the face of the home plate umpire.
Here comes the 2-1. Popped over to left field, fouled off.
I think that baseball could have checked the clouds to see if there was any rain coming. My goodness, Perriello
Absolutely skied it.
hit that one a mile upwards.
Here comes the 2-2. Sent directly into the glove of first baseman Halligan for outs number 2 and 3. That'll wrap up the 6th inning here. So Big Train still sitting behind 11-1. Stay tuned as we head into the top of the 7th inning. You're listening to Big Train Baseball Network. And we're back for the top of the 7th inning here on Big Train Baseball Network. Darkness has fallen over Shirley Povich Field as we have hit the 9:30 p.m. hour, and rain is on its way as number 29 grounds that one past shortstop Franklin for a base hit.
It's going to be Nolan Book. Fittingly playing on Harry Potter night.
That's right, we forgot to mention that it was Harry Potter night here at Shirley Povich Field. Our production.
Girl, I mentioned that like
Produce-
several innings ago. Come
Oh,
on.
sorry. Maybe I just wasn't listening to you.
Sorry, that came out really, really mean. I do apologize if that had a splash of animosity. That wasn't supposed to happen.
No, I like that we're starting to echo each other's slang. You referring to me as girl?
I do that more than you might think. That is
Sorry,
not-
you're right. You did mention it quite a couple of times, but I meant more that we haven't mentioned that our producer, Jordan Parham, was the one who set up this Harry Potter night tonight here at Shirley Povich. As number 22, another pinch hitter for the Braves.
That's going to be Carter Holmes out of the University of Rochester, hailing from Alexandria, Virginia.
He'll foul that one off behind him for strike 2.
As we're going to have a quick mound visit between
The new
Stevens
pitcher
and
on the mound.
Perriello as the wind's starting to pick up here at Shirley Povich Field.
Just another sign of that imminent bad weather we've mentioned here. Again, Braves have a runner aboard, but if this inning does not come to conclusion, any runs they score will not count towards the final score of the game. As that's in there for strike 3, that'll record out number 1 for the Braves. Now sending up number 3, Jamie Leskovsky to the plate.
Stevens has leaned heavily on his fastball in his first few appearances this summer, but recording the K there on an off-speed pitch.
Comes the first offering to Leskovsky. He'll pop that one over into left field, scooped up by your left fielder, Jaden Bastian. Makes the throw over to the pitcher now. So Braves now with 2 aboard for number 30, another pinch hitter for the Braves.
Really emptying the bench, as it's going to be Zach Scott representing the Dayton Flyers, hailing from Lunenburg, Massachusetts.
First offering to Scott is a swing and a miss for strike 1.
Just 49 at-bats over his first 2 seasons with the Flyers.
Here comes the 0-1. It's in there for strike 2. So you mentioned Braves emptying out their bench. A great time to do so. Already sitting with a 10-run lead. Big swing and a miss from number 30, Zach Scott. So that'll send him down swinging for out number 2 for the Braves. Sending up.
Guess what, Phoebe? Another pinch hitter. This time it's Chris Morabito.
Number 24, Chris Morabito. First offering outside for ball 1. As I was saying, great time to empty the bench here. Already sitting with a 10-run lead. And as we've said time and again, summer ball is all about getting those reps in, as the 1-0 is swung on and missed for strike 1.
Morabito has one of those 14 homers entering tonight for the Braves. A big bat for Bucknell last season. Had a pair of dingers along with 17 RBIs.
The 1-1 is also swung on and missed for strike 2. Again, 2 outs on the board for the Braves.
Baseball also runs in the family, as Morabito's brother Nick was drafted 75th overall by the Mets a couple of years ago, and his father played at James Madison.
And big swing and a miss from Morabito, and that'll conclude the top of the 7th inning.
Here comes the rain.
Stevens leaves them swinging at the plate, held them scoreless for the third consecutive half inning. And as you mentioned, here comes the rain. We'll see if that has an effect on the rest of the game here. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Big Train Baseball Network.
Wait for me. Keep watching you when you leave. Something new. Keep hoping you feel this too. Holding on and on and on and on. Hoping I can get to know you better. Living in sweet suburbia. Some fun is all we want. Two kids come alive in a night rush. I'll be the girl next door. You be my summer crush. Yeah, I think you should come and pick me up. 'Cause nothing feels as good as summer love.
Welcome back to Shirley Povich Field. You're listening to the Big Train Baseball Network as the rain is starting to come down here heavy. As we head into the bottom of the 7th inning, you've got the top of the order, Jordan Crosland at the plate. First offering to him is in there for strike one.
As you mentioned earlier, we had rain at Gaithersburg, and it was coming down pretty heavily, but the umpires seemed pretty hesitant to call the game, and it was never called.
0-1 in there for strike two.
Although tonight might present a far different circumstance as the rain, as you said, is coming down pretty heavily.
As the 0-2 outside for ball one, escaping the catcher, Jaden Carter. I think the difference here from Gaithersburg is that we do have lightning in the area, as the 1-2 caught outside for ball two during the stoppage of play in the middle of the bottom of the 5th. We heard from our team outside who had been checking the weather maps that there had been lightning in the area 30 minutes away, as 2-2 outside for ball three.
So if Steven Stamkos walks in here, this game is done. We will not be playing any more baseball.
But that does seem to be the definitive difference, as the 3-2 skied out towards left field. Under
Whoops. That was dropped.
Under it was Sanders, but as you mentioned, he dropped it. So that'll result in a double for Crosland, sending up number 2, Jaden Bastian, to the plate.
Yeah, an awkward pop fly for Sanders to handle. Had to get real low to the ground, but unfortunately couldn't corral it. I'd like to think that'll go down as an E7 in the scorebook.
Bastian, now stepping up to the plate, has gotten a base hit in all 3 of his previous at-bats. Here comes the first offering to Bastian. It's down low, outside for ball one. Can see some fans starting to trickle out, not wanting to wait it out in the showers that are coming down here at Shirley Povich. as the 1-0 inside for strike one. Here comes the 1-1. That one swung on and missed for strike two. Bat boy Owen Lieber chasing after it.
I must say the raindrops falling here at Shirley Povich are becoming as thick as the tension last night between the T-Bolts and the Big Train.
1-2 outside for ball two. Catcher Jaden Carter was going to go for the throw over at second, but just got away from him. Wouldn't have been able to make the catch in time if he had corralled the ball.
Looks like the stands are almost completely clear. Just a handful of bodies and seats.
Here comes the 2-2. Popped up high, flying out towards center field. This time under it, Billy Fluharty for out one. Crosland remaining on second base, sending up number 29, Andrew Williamson, to the plate.
Williamson, one of several Floridians, either growing up and or playing their college baseball on the Big Train, probably used to this kind of climate, possibly 5 times worse.
First offering to Williamson, outside for ball one.
Florida rain, especially South Florida rain, is no joke.
I will say spending summers in Orlando, Florida can definitely speak to that, as the 1-0 swung on and missed for strike one. The rain in Florida really comes down hard, and it seemingly comes out of nowhere as the weather kind of flip-flops throughout just the evening. Going from heavy, heavy rain back to sunny skies. A little different here in Bethesda, Maryland, as the 1-1 gets away from the catcher there for ball two, and that'll push Crosland over to third. So Big Train now has their second run in scoring position. Williamson at a 1-2 count, 1 out on the board. The sky is just opening up here at Shirley Povich Field.
Opening up for a waterfall, you mean?
Yeah. Yep, opening up for...
Is that what they
heavy
say? Is that what they say? When
You
rain
have
comes
me
down?
questioning myself now, but
When somebody says the sky is opening up, what does that mean to you? Does that mean it's opening up for rain, or?
yes, opening
Okay.
up for rain.
All right.
So Williamson now at a 2-2 count. Crosland on third in scoring position. Here comes the 2-2. Fouled off down the right field line. Williamson stepping out of the box for a moment. He'll return to the box to face another 2-2 count. Now you notice there he tapped around the home plate in 3 different spots, as the 2-2 throw just completely evades the catcher, sailing over his extended left hand, and that'll bring in run number 2 for the Big Train. Williamson now on second, bringing up Davin Whitaker to the plate.
So now the umpire's having a discussion, and they have waved everybody off the field.
Well, while we wait to hear the conclusion of the umpires' meeting, again, this weather an imminent factor in the length of the game. We'll catch you back here once we resume play, or for a resuming of play, or either a cutout.
Ride the boogie train till the
And we're back here on the Big Train Baseball Network. As we mentioned, the rain an imminent factor. It looks like it has effectively cut this game short. And since the 7th inning did not come to completion, that second run brought in by Jordan Krause and some excellent hitting from Andrew Williamson will not count towards the final score of the game, which is now 11-1. So that'll go down in the books for a win for the Braves. Quentin, share some of your thoughts on this game. It was their second meeting with the Braves.
Yeah, obviously not how they wanted it to go. Coming off of the high of last night, you might think that they might catalyze another winning streak, but the Braves had other ideas, coming out firing early on offense. That 7th spot earlier in the game really paying dividends for Metro SoCo. Now the Big Train dropping below 500 with an 11-1 defeat. Again, not how they likely wanted it to go, but a chance to bounce back tomorrow.
That's right. Definitely not how they wanted things to go, and unfortunately the game was cut short by the weather here, so we saw the Big Train get another run aboard. Doesn't count towards the final score. Who knows what would have happened in the remaining innings. As we've seen, the Big Train has bounced back from larger score deficits in the past during the late innings of the game, putting up an 8th spot in the bottom of the 8th to take away the win over the Tacoma Thunderbolts. So again, weather proving to cut this game short at 7 innings, or
almost
incomplete 7 innings. So the Braves walking away with the win. So in this series, Big Train sits at 1, Braves sit at 1. We'll be back here at Shirley Povich Field tomorrow for another home game for the Big Train. Thank you for tuning in to the Big Train Baseball Network. For my partner, Quentin Corpuel, and for our production assistants and producers, Jordan Parham and Lindsay Morin. I'm Phoebe Winters, calling the game for Big Train Baseball Networks. We'll catch you here tomorrow night.